Has anybody seen my smoothie? Smoothie, I need a smoothie. To imbibe the drinks or not to imbibe the drinks? Is that really the question? Whether to drink or not was a question that mercilessly screwed with me for much of my life. I always seemed to have an incessant dialogue going around whether I was drinking too much or too frequently. Sometimes it asked me a more poignant question. What was I trying to escape from? Other times, an outright spooky question emerged. Was I drinking to be more myself? My fun, outgoing, creative self, that guy my family and career seemed to need me to leave behind in college? Where did the drinks end, and where do we begin? 4.5 years ago, I consciously flipped the switch on my drinking career, for good. All of my choices in my partying life had prepared me to decide once and for all. I was a kid who snuck beers in the creek behind my parents' house at the age of 14. I was touring in bands, performing in clubs, and drinking 6 nights a week at 19. And at 35, I was running a $7 million sales territory, unlimited expenses, and clients to entertain. Our third kid was on the way, yet I seemed to be home less and less. And then there were other dads and neighbors who always seemed to want to drink with me. Fellow musicians would stop by wanting to jam, which usually meant weed and beers. The stressful holidays invited me to drink more, if only to be more at ease in my own skin. So for decades, we insist we won't become the person we fear. But day to day, situations present themselves which link together into a moving sidewalk. Our habits start choosing for us, trigger happy from stressors with a blank check for expenses and endless open bars. In April 2012, I was at threshold. My meditation practice wouldn't let me bullshit myself anymore, so I hung up the drinks for good. All of a sudden, that narrative in my head was silenced. I didn't need to count my drinks or how many days I would make it before wanting a drink. In fact, I had no interest in counting anyone's drinks. The constant self-judgment was over. Compassion emerged. I only judged my friends as awesome if they wanted to drink, but did that higher understanding work in my direction? Oddly, I often found that not partaking made other people uncomfortable. It seemed to make some people feel better about themselves if they assumed I was a raging alcoholic, but I wasn't. My family or my wife never gave me an ultimatum to quit. I never got a DUI or a party plate. In fact, my rock bottom didn't seem to be anywhere in sight. Meditation just kept gently nudging me to sneak off the elevator before I plummeted to the ground floor while I still had a choice. And with that resolve to move beyond, more interesting questions emerged. For the first year, I felt I needed to justify to everyone else why I wasn't partaking. My vibe was something like, don't worry you guys, it's not you, it's me. Like I was broken for making more conscious, healthier choices. What I found since then is that wrestling over whether to drink or not is really teeny tiny mice nuts. I once had this boss, a raging alcoholic, God bless his soul, who minimized all marginal activities as mice nuts. Never moving the conversation beyond whether to drink or not misses the far greater opportunity to embrace what I call the new sobriety. It's no mystery that sobriety needs better marketing. At best, the perception of sobriety is the lame alternative to drinking. But what if, like the Grinch, I had discovered that maybe sobriety means a little bit more? Sandra Dodd, a writer and philosopher, provides one of my favorite definitions of sobriety. Do not all you are able, eat not all you wish, spend not all you have, and tell not all you know. My friend and best-selling author Susan Piver helped me define my own sobriety, pared down, sharp-eyed, awake. As I move further beyond the drinks, practicing yoga meditation, raising my family, venturing out on my own as an entrepreneur, a new sobriety seems to be emerging. I currently define sobriety as complete alignment with the miracle of our circumstances. It's a higher consciousness of the present moment, one where we don't have any interest in escaping from. We'd rather hang back and savor it, hang with it, become a clear vessel for something greater to express through us. It's in this space where we can experience freedom, authentic laughter, and wow, lots of joy. And you could grab your lampshade party hat too, because this is definitely where I finally learned how to party. Every summer, I get to wear numerous unicorn costumes as the Chief Spirit Officer for Camp Good Life Project. I used to think I was just trying to show our guests a good time. There's no booze at camp, and I wanted them to be creative with how they party sans drinks. My children, though, have taught me how to party way harder than I ever did in my youth. I honestly don't know if I could have had this much fun if I was still hustling, looking for more drinks. A couple months back, one of my friends and readers, Kate O'Brien, had an idea. To take everything we've learned from running my 30-day meditation challenges for thousands around the globe and apply it to not drinking. By the way, Kate celebrated her own first 3 months of the new sobriety last week, and her energy, her skin, her relationships with her family, they all radiate. So we ended up building what we would have loved to have when we were quitting. We designed this incredibly fun, powerful program around a new 30-day challenge. Along the way, I'm going to interview my favorite teachers and experts who have helped me along my own path towards the new sobriety. Susan Piver will discuss sobriety and relationships. Artist and author Cynthia Morris will dig deep on sobriety and our work. My dear friend and teacher, Dr. Alice Bandy, will help us look under our emotional and spiritual hood as we define the sober individual. And I'll inspire you to walk your own path toward the new sobriety. We'll also explore the art of partying and sobriety and our impact. That's 5 powerhouse weeks and modules. We're going to host deeper conversations in a private Facebook community and support one another like crazy as we conquer this challenge. Every Friday, we'll facilitate group video calls to optimize our vibe for the weekend. By the way, at the conclusion of our challenge, I'm not pushing for anyone to become some teetotaling sober grandmother. You'll be asked to commit to one of 3 paths forward. 1, more conscious consumption or true moderation. 2, continuing on with your own 90-day challenge of no drinking. Or 3, the new sobriety as we define it together in the program. I live in Akron, Ohio. We Akronites have given many badass things to the world. Devo, the Black Keys, car tires, blimps, LeBron James, the list goes on. But not everyone knows this, but Akron is also the founding site of Alcoholics Anonymous. I've got nothing but deep love and respect for all my AA brothers and sisters. But my team and I also envisioned a new alternative. I pictured a lighter middle ground between unconscious drinking and rock bottom rehab. This is the new sobriety program. How are we going to explore the possibilities beyond the drinks? How are we going to align ourselves with the miracle of our circumstances? By partying our asses off. That means kicking lots of love and laughter, doing a lot of deep research and work together, and just hanging. And this is going to be a crazy, inspiring ride. This isn't your father's 30-day challenge unless you are one of my 3 children. Then I guess it would be. The new sobriety is about so much more than that grody margarita you might have at Chi-Chi's tonight. We'll be limiting our first program series, so please register today. The goal was to make it as accessible as possible price-wise, so it's priced at or far below what most of us would spend on drinks in a given month. So 4.5 years ago, I started asking myself this better question. It had nothing to do with how much I drank, but everything to do with leaving behind outdated habits and moving towards a higher plane in my life. It's the question that I want to leave you with. What are you waiting for? I'd love for you to join us. Our first sessions are filling up. We kick off on the 1st and ramp toward the 30-day challenge on the 11th. Visit thenewsobriety.com for the full class schedule and details. I'm happy to answer any questions along the way. How will we know when the drinks are sustaining us or consuming us? That's the question. Let's figure that out together. Much love to you on your journey, and thank you so much for your time.